Hey, today we're with Lakewood Ranch historian Stuart Siegel. He is one of the first of 50 families to actually move to Lakewood Ranch. Stuart, how has Lakewood Ranch changed in 22 years?
Families of Lakewood Ranch. As you can see, my name is on the board of Lakewood Ranch founders. At least I'm getting this.
Oh, I see it right there, S&P Siegel.
Yeah, I'm getting this recognition from Shroeder Manatee or Lakewood Ranch, and I was here at a ceremony in which a time capsule was buried here.
No, there's a time capsule where? Under this?
I guess under
Is
here.
it directly under here?
And it should be open, I believe, after 25 years, so we're a couple years away.
Now, do you know what's inside that time capsule?
All the 50 residents were allowed to put in pictures, things like business cards, some mementos, and stuff like that. As I say, I was here for a ceremony in 1995. Happy Founders Day. Okay.
Hey, what's a CDD? What's a Community Development District?
Community Development District. And I'm probably going to say, unfortunately, my residence is in Community Development District 1, which is Summerfield and Riverwalk. And originally, 22 plus years ago in the brochure, they explained the CDDs. I think it's due time Lakewood Ranch give up the CDD system. We're big enough, as you said, approximately 35,000 residents, and incorporate into a municipality. They have not been proactive on an issue for over 10 years.
Just human interest, what issue?
It's Braden River. The Braden River, which is a tributary to the Manatee River, flows through all of Lakewood Ranch.
Really?
And just to give you a background, in 97, 98, okay, a fair part of Lakewood Ranch in its infancy flooded. The fathers of Lakewood Ranch, they were standing in a flooded area where I was, and they were kind of in shock because they thought, here we got this beautiful community and we're going to get the reputation to flood. What it was, a result of the Braden River. Now the Braden River, due to some engineering changes they made, called collateral damage, is now losing its banks. It's into a preserve that has decimated a Gopher Tortoise preserve, which
So it's bad for the environment in the green areas.
In the state of Florida, the Gopher Tortoise is a threatened species. And what most people don't know, Florida Wildlife Commission, they monitor the burrows each year.
Sure.
And in the area that's specific to me, where river erosion has gotten extreme, flooding yards, there's no banks left, no preserve left.
Sure.
What it is, from 09 to about 2012, I have the documents, Gopher Tortoise burrows went from like 27 down to 9. I'd be surprised today with the acceleration of no riverbanks and preserve, it might be 2. That they are to maintain it, and especially for the Gopher Tortoise, and they have been remiss on that. What this has resulted in by neglecting it all these years, even though they know about it, is safety number 1. It's become a very dangerous area. Okay, it has affected property values. Okay, in most of these areas, if you were interested in buying a home and you walked in the yard, you know something's amiss. Okay, and also mainly, I'm an animal lover. The Gopher Tortoise, it's being decimated by their inaction. Now take CDD 4, which is the Greenbrook area. They had the same issue, similar issue. They were very proactive. They fixed it at a much lower expense by not letting it, get out of control. This was in 2013, and it's documented in the East County Observer. It's led to, as I said, if you want to call it the erosion, decimation, there's no property back there. The preserve was a beautiful area. We knew when we bought it did not belong to us. We were told to stay out of it, which we did. And they have not upkept it. The upkeep has been negligent because they refuse to take action on it. The city fathers of Lakewood Ranch, or the powers that be, okay, prior to CDD 1 taking control, and there were residences there, okay, in these areas, they knew there was a problem. They came in, they shored it up, they did riprap. To with this day, 20 years later, it has worked. It done its job. And this CDD One board is doing nothing but stalling and trying to put the blame and the cost on other people.
They get the money to repair all this river stuff. Would there have to be a special assessment or pass the hat, or what goes on?
There probably would be an assessment, and what we're looking at right now, Summerfield Riverwalk, the CDD One, and from what I'm told, I believe there's about 1,900 homes, whereas they refer to it doors.
Sure.
Okay, on it. What it is, everyone in this area would be affected by the river. As a matter of fact, one of the leaders of Lakewood Ranch, in a meeting that I had with this individual in 2012, made the comment, if the river gets screwed up and the banks go and it gets corked up, was his word, 2/3 of Summerfield Riverwalk and other parts of Lakewood Ranch will go underwater. Okay?
So if there's like a big storm like Hurricane Irma,
right,
these homes could all be underwater.
right, and water was already breaching what I will call the no banks of the Bradenton River. It was into our yards, okay, in many areas of Lakewood Ranch. And the CDD One Board feels that if there's any repair, and I think at this point you're looking at probably close to 7 figures or above 7 figures.
So over $1 million?
Well, probably they want to assess 4 or 5 homeowners because they feel it's specific to them. To me, that's BS. And even an engineer told me that a river is a dynamic system, okay? You can't patch one area and not another. So they want to put it on us, and I think it would bankrupt a lot of homeowners. It doesn't affect 4 or 5 homeowners. It affects all of Lakewood Ranch, as the river flows through all of Lakewood Ranch. I think first and foremost, yes, you got to look at the big picture, but there's a sense of urgency now that this work get done, okay, to protect CDD One, a major part of Lakewood Ranch. You know, I put my full faith in Lakewood Ranch 22 years ago after a lot of due diligence, okay? And, you know, when I moved here, there was no Lakewood Ranch Boulevard and University Parkway intersection, okay? It was, and my feeling is I put my trust in them. I do feel different now because of the CDD system. I wish Lakewood Ranch or Shroeder Manatee would intervene and get this taken care of. And then you can have a board like CDD One that is just putting up obstacles and putting on their blinders that it's not our problem.
Now, what if those CDD people, if I were talking to them today, what if they said you're just being purposely difficult and you don't understand? What would you tell them?
That they have no obligation to fix it. Even though, and I'm not an attorney, okay, even though the deed of easement to them states very clearly they are to maintain the riverbanks and the preserve for the benefit of the Gopher Tortoise, again, a threatened species, which is monitored by Florida Wildlife. Their thing is, we'll be happy to fix it, but it's going to be at your expense and the expense of not 900 homeowners that would be affected, but at the expense of 4 or 5, okay, which some are in fear. If that happens, they're going to be bankrupt.
Hey, Stuart, it's utterly fascinating what you've told me about this. Could you show me some of the...
And I'll be happy to take you on a little tour of Lakewood Ranch here, you know, stuff that I've learned over the past 22 years, experienced and witnessed. The Braden River is behind these trees, okay? In this area, and you can see around the lake, there's one here, it's called Spillways, okay? And what the objective was of this, in 1997-98, when Lakewood Ranch flooded, okay, they had to do something, and they had to do something quick.
Now, was there a big flood back then?
Right, yes there was. Streets were flooded, some homes were flooded. And what this is here, where you're looking at these 2 big lakes just south of the bridge on Lakewood Ranch, okay, these were designed to take overflow from the Braden River, even the other side of Lakewood Ranch Boulevard, move it around the river, okay? When this fills up, it starts spillways or overflows like you have here, and then at a further distance come back into the Braden River. Okay. And my belief is Lakewood Ranch had to show for potential buyers and future buyers that knew about flooding, oh, look what we've done. Look what we've done here. So that's the purpose of the lakes, the various levels of the lakes, is to relieve waters, as was explained to us, you know, 20 years ago, to take overflow from the Braden River, move it into the lakes, if they use spillways, going around those lakes, and then meet back up with the Braden River at a further point down here. So that's it. But the Braden River is right here. You can see these indentations here. If you come back here in a heavy rain, days of rain, you will not see this soil down here. This is part of a spillway.
Oh, so this would be totally covered
See
by
this, how
water.
yes. You can see how the berm here is built up on this bank of the river. Okay? That basically prevents flooding from going back into the lake. So, and it puts a lot of other homes at risk on the other side that has not been built up.
And here's a review of the Siegel's home in Lakewood Ranch in Summerfield. Now, look at the declining erosion of the land. The water isn't that high today in this river alcove, but look at the erosion.
Maybe
So Siegel told me years ago when he bought the house, the land was completely level. Now, his property has been declining at a significant angle. Right now, he's pointed to something called gulching.
This is gulching, but if you look back here deeper, that's the opposite bank of the Braden River. Right now, obviously, due to season, it's low, Jim. But if you can see, this whole area has been all cut out by erosion.
Mm-hmm.
This used to be horizontal from the house to the river,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And probably, like you see on the other side, a 10 or 14 foot drop to the river.
Mm-hmm.
If you turn here, you can see my neighbor's yard. Look at the sloping there. And this slopes almost like a gel,
Mm-hmm.
as the engineer says, that the trees and the roots and all move together with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's further up the river here. There's some other neighbors that have lost their yard
Mhm.
along these trees, from what I've been told.
Mhm.
And this is called a preserve, and then the river. This was deeded to CDD One, what we
Mhm.
understand. There, in the deed of
Mhm.
easement, it does state that they are responsible for keeping the banks of the Braden River upkeep, and also for the benefit of keeping the Gopher Tortoise. And as I said, I believe they've been remiss on this. And this is after 10, 12 years. This is what's happening, and it just keeps on moving.
It's been a while since I've had earth science, but I would have thought there would have been like a wearing away of land, but it appears that the water actually is underneath the land, which I'm even sitting now,
that's
that
how
will
it
cause
starts.
future erosion.
The engineers call it shelving. It eats out, the turbulence eats out underneath, and then the top collapses. And that's how this erosion that you can see here has been going on, okay, on it. It's for years now, it's getting gutted underneath, and then you go stand on it, or Mother Nature, it just collapses under its own weight.
Mhm.
And we have had fallen trees back here on it too, and which supposedly one day, if it falls wrong and corks up the river, we got a big issue in a good part of Lakewood Ranch.
Are there any circumstances where Manatee County would use their resources to help repair this?
I don't know. We are exploring that at this time. The residents, okay. We are, and the residents' behalf, we're taking that on ourselves.
Are there precedents for that with the county
I don't
getting
know.
involved
I
if
haven't
a
looked.
CDD,
Yeah.
is remiss in their responsibilities?
But as I say, the CDD, I think, has to be accountable to someone, especially the residents and the owners.